Y'all better be careful out there. This story is wild. A Mississippi man was hit by a police cruiser and then buried without his family even being notified. Yo, let's get into the story. If you've never been here before, just go ahead and hit that subscribe button and then click the bell next to the subscribe button so you are notified every time a new video goes up on BrainFLoTv. Welcome back, family. So, a Mississippi mother has claimed that her son's name is Dexter Wade. He was 37 years old, and yes, he was a black man. He was struck by a white police officer's car cruiser. It wasn't the police officer's actual police car. It was the police officer's car, as in his personal car, not a cruiser. While he was crossing a highway, according to Betterston Wade, the authorities buried this man in a pauper's grave without informing the family members next of kin. A prescription bottle was discovered at the scene, confirmed the identity of Dexter Wade. His mother said that she had been persistently reaching out to the police department, searching for her baby, but his body remained unclaimed in a morgue for 172 days, even though he had a prescription on him, which would have been a good lead. You know, your prescription, your medication, it normally says your name and it normally says your full name as well as your address, or at least your full name and when you're supposed to take your medication and whatever else, right? And what the medication is for. But that would have been a good start. However, they never reached out to the family. They never tried to get in touch with the family. As a matter of fact, the mom was constantly in touch with the police. Could y'all help me please find my son? All this time, this man's body is laying in a morgue. And they claim the body was in the morgue for 172 days. Now, you know you got to pay for morgue storage. They don't just store bodies for free. So who was paying for this body to sit in the morgue for 172 days? That's like leaving your car in paid parking for 172 days. You're going to pay those fees for each day that car was in that paid parking. The 65-year-old mom said that the police disclosed the details of his death later and informed her that her son had been laid to rest in a grave that was meant for people who were in a prison system. Damn. So the grieving mother, she was escorted to the burial site, which was unmarked. They threw this man in an unmarked grave. Basically just throw you in the ground and cover you up, right? Except for a plot number. Just like in prison, they don't even use your name. You just have a number. Okay. She was so overwhelmed with sorrow, she knelt down on the ground in anguish, screamed out, tearfully expressing her remorse. She says, "I'm sorry, baby. I'm sorry, baby. I'm sorry." Dexter Wade went missing on March 5th after a dispute with his mother. They had an argument. He went walking down the street. You see how this pans out? Mama and son had an argument. Son decides, listen, I'm a grown man. I'm not going to stay in the house and argue with my mama. This is something that I do, right? Before I argue with my mother, trade words back and forth, disrespect, I just keep my distance. I go away. I go for a long walk, a ride in the car, something like that, right? So they had a little argument and her son walked away from the house. On the same day is when he was allegedly hit and fatally injured by an off-duty police officer who was driving an SUV. The incident was categorized as an accident. A toxicology report indicated that the presence of PCP and methamphetamine were in Dexter's system at the time of his death. A coroner identified him and claimed to have left a voicemail for his mom, although it remains uncertain whether she ever received that voicemail or not. Well, she's letting you know she never received the damn voicemail. The coroner stated that he provided information to the police for the purpose of notifying the family and issuing the official death notice. But this crucial step was never taken. Now, with nearly 10 days passing without any updates, his mom took the initiative to report her son as a missing person to the police. She was hesitant initially, given that her brother had lost his life at the hands of the same police department, a member from that police department, Jackson Police, in 2019. So she's kind of scared and apprehensive about dealing with the police. Her own brother lost his life. The police officer in question was convicted of manslaughter for fatally slamming her brother, George Robinson, who was 62 years old at the time, slammed him into the ground so hard he died. So to go to the same police department now and tell them, yeah, my son is missing, could y'all help me to find him? She didn't know where to turn and she was nervous about that. So he's currently appealing his conviction, that police officer. He was found guilty. He was locked up and he is currently appealing his conviction. Now, while Wade's mother family has initiated a wrongful death lawsuit, that is still waiting to be resolved. In light of these circumstances, Betterston Wade is her name, the mom. She has raised concerns about whether her son's tragic death might be connected to a possible vendetta against her and her family due to the ongoing legal actions that were taken against the police officer from the same department. See, this gets deeper, right? It started out mama and son having an argument. Son decides to go for a walk down the road. It is said that this man was a hardworking man and he wasn't on any drugs. Matter of fact, he has a job that tests its employees. So finding methamphetamine and a mix of a bunch of other drugs in his system is kind of weird. I don't know if after they hit him, they doped him up and then say, let's just say it's a homeless person. Did the coroner actually leave a voice message for the mom? And if so, how come she didn't get it? I don't know. But at the end of the day, for 172 days, they kept the body on ice, allegedly, at a morgue. And in that same space of time, the mother has been going to the same police department repeatedly, asking them to help me look for my son. Please, my son is missing. So initially she was afraid, but she got over it, and the situation with her own brother, who was 62 years old, when the police slammed him into the ground and killed him, that situation is still ongoing. It's not resolved. It's resolved as far as them getting a conviction against that police officer, but it's not resolved because the police officer is still appealing the case. Therefore, his fellow police officers might be looking at it like that's the family that put our brother in prison, right? And this is a part of what the mother is saying. Could this be a vendetta against her family due to some ongoing legal actions? Now, during the initial days of the search for Dexter Wade, an investigator took an incident report, but there was an initial misspelling of his name in the incident report. In her determined effort to find her son, though, Betterson Wade she sent out multiple photographs of him to the police, and then, because she wasn't getting any result from the police department, she turned to social media, posting increasingly desperate pleas on Facebook, on other platforms for assistance. Can somebody please help me to locate my son? This is what he looks like. It's crazy. So for several months, she continued to seek the same police help in finding Dexter Wade. And she expressed her heartbreak, conveying the longing of her children, her family members, her friends, saying that, Dexter, your kids miss you, Dexter. I miss you, Dexter. Your grandma miss you. Your sister, your auntie, your cousins, your friends miss you, Dexter. You don't have to come home. Just let us know you're all right. We love you. No, man. And he wasn't even alive. Candace Thomas, who is the mother of Dexter's two daughters, She said that her daughter's growing concerns about the whereabouts of their father got her worried. I mean, it wasn't likely for him to just disappear like this, right? But they were trying to hold on to faith that maybe it's that time in his life where he took a hiatus, went somewhere, and got involved in something. He'll be back. But she said the more his little daughters are like, where's daddy? Daddy's not coming back. Something's wrong. It started getting her worried. Now, the coroner disclosed that they had made repeated efforts to contact the police so the police could locate Dexter Wade's next of kin. But they were informed that there was no progress. So the police must have told the coroner, we tried reaching out, but we can't find the family. Ultimately, they sought approval to lay Dexter to rest in the Hinds County Penal Farm. A request that was granted on April as reported by the Mail. Wow. I wonder who granted that request. Now, Betterson Wade, Dexter's mom, said that she only learned of her son's death in August. She was then reportedly compelled to pay a $250 fee to claim his body. At his gravesite, she tearfully expressed her apologies and love for him. This is when she knelt down and she was like, I'm sorry, Dexter. I'm sorry. I want to tell you that I am so sorry. I'm so sorry this happened to you. But Mama didn't know, baby. Mama did not know. I always loved you and I miss you. Farewell, my baby. Farewell. Betterson Wade is now seeking to raise $100,000 through a GoFundMe campaign to have her son's body exhumed and to provide him with a proper funeral burial. We'll move on to the other part of the story because there's another part to the story, right? Fast forward till today, and it says the fact that a state identification card and several identifying items were found in this man's pockets tells us that there was a concerted effort to keep the truth and the manner of which he died away from his family. That's what the family attorney said. Let's get to the top of this story, right? AP News. This one was posted November 16th of 2023 by Michael Goldberg. Shout out to Michael Goldberg for putting the story out there. It says that a black man who died after he was hit by a police SUV in Mississippi was buried in a pauper's cemetery without his family's knowledge, even though his state ID was in his pocket, indicating a serious effort to cover up the manner of which he died. That's crazy. So forget about the prescription bottle that was found at the scene. His whole ID government ID was in his pocket, and they buried him with it in his pocket. Now, I'm still confused as to whether this is a police SUV because the last story said it was a police car or an off-duty police car. So I don't know if the police was off-duty driving his personal car or, most police officers who drive a cruiser, they take the cruiser home with them. But this updated story saying he was hit by a police SUV. So I guess the police officer that was driving it was off duty, heading home or heading wherever he was heading, and accidentally or did run over Dexter. But the fact that when they exhumed him, they found his ID in his pocket. Civil rights attorney Ben Crump said in a statement that the body of Dexter Wade was exhumed on Monday and that a wallet. Now, remember, I just told you the mom was trying to raise $100,000 on GoFundMe so she could exhume her son's body, which they had buried in this pauper's cemetery with no markings on it except for a plot number. And when they exhumed him, went through the pockets of the clothing because he was still in the same clothing that he disappeared in, they found his ID in his pocket. So civil rights attorney Ben Crump said in a statement that the body of Dexter Wade was exhumed on Monday and that a wallet was found in his pockets, in his jeans pockets. Wade had been buried in contained his state identification card with his home address. His credit card was in there, and his health insurance card were in there. Credit card, health insurance card, government ID, all match. All have the same name on them. Your government ID definitely has your address. Crump urged the U.S. Department of Justice to investigate Wade's death in its aftermath. He says that the fact that a state identification card and several other pieces of identifications were found on him and they buried him with them showed us that there was a concerted effort to cover up the truth about his death. There's no excuse, not even incompetence, for not notifying next of kin of an identified man's death. Y'all know who he was. You knew how to get in touch with his family. If y'all couldn't get them by phone, you should have sent somebody driving over there, walking up that driveway and banging that front door. Representatives of the Jackson Police Department and the Hinds County Coroner's Office, they did not respond to calls and text messages when journalists were trying to get to them, try to get some information about the case. Wade was 37 years old. He died on March 5th after he was hit by a police department vehicle that was driven by an officer. Okay, so now it clears it up. So it was a police cruiser that hit him. And he was buried in a pauper cemetery and his family was never notified. Wow. Yo, I don't even know what else to say. I just want you to leave your comments in the comment section below and tell me what you think about this story. Y'all be careful out there, because things do happen. And I'll end this video by saying this. There are a lot of good police officers out there that go out there with a mindset to make a difference in a good way. But you got to still remember, police officers are human beings. And if you're a person whose values are rotten at the core, then putting on a police uniform does not erase who you are truly as a person. If you are a deceitful person, if you are a damn drug addict that's on the police force, if you are conniving, misleading, disrespectful, narcissistic, whatever is going on with you, that police uniform, once you put it on, does not make all that stuff disappear from inside of you. So yeah, you will have police officers that do wrong and then do their best to cover it up. I'll leave this one right here. I'm just flabbergasted. I don't even know what to say. I'll catch y'all on the next video. It's BrainFLoTv. I'm out. Peace.